Everyone. This is Gabrielle. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Money with Friends. As you all know, every week we come on live to share some really great information with our viewers. And tonight is no different. I wanted to let you know that tonight's topic is very important to me because it's um, about civic engagement. So, what is civic engagement? We're going to take the time to talk about that with you tonight. But before I go any further, I just want to say that, Let's Talk Money with Friends is all about money. But as we all know, money encompasses everything. Without the right knowledge and support, you will not be able to keep the money that you have earned and have worked for. So it is very important to understand how to protect the very things that you've worked for. So when we talk about assets, it could be your home, it could be the portfolio that you have, but knowledge is powerful. Without the right knowledge, you will not be able to retain anything. That's why tonight we wanted to share with our audience, letting them know that you don't have to be running for office, you don't have to be a politician or even a legal scholar to learn about your rights. And the best way to go about doing that is by getting engaged, by getting involved in your community. We know every sometimes folks say, I don't have enough time. Well, we do spend a lot of our time sometimes, doing things that are not gonna bring us anything in return. So it's very important that today that you understand that there are so many ways for you to get involved. You can get on Zoom, you can get online. Many of the community activities are available to you right online. So prioritizing that engagement and also making time for it is gonna be your responsibility. I've been a substitute teacher and I've gone to the school, and also of course I've been to school, and many times I see parents not even showing up for PTOs. I see community members not showing up for community meetings, and some people don't even vote. And then yet when things are not going their way, when things are not going the way they want it to go, they get upset. You ask them, where do you live? Oh, I live in Randolph, I live in Brockton, I live in Boston. Those are areas in Massachusetts. And when you ask them about what's going on, they have no idea. So it is very important that we become knowledgeable and we get engaged in the things that are happening in our communities. Because, for example, recently during the COVID-19 last year, Massachusetts, we had a moratorium. It was a moratorium to protect families from getting evicted from a home, an apartment, or even dealing with foreclosure. So many didn't know because they were not involved in what was happening in the community. Subsequently, I have met people who ended up living in an apartment or getting stressed over a potential foreclosure because they didn't know they have rights. So with that said, this is what we're gonna do tonight. I have two guests with me, two awesome guests, and these ladies have been very much involved in their communities, and I will give them an opportunity tonight to share with you why is it important to get involved and why civic engagement is something that is as important as the work and the full-time job that you hold. So without further ado, I just want to introduce our two guests. The first one is Linda Champion. Linda Champion, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience tonight?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on Let's Talk Money. I think it's such an important topic. My name is Linda Champion. I am an attorney here in Massachusetts, and I work in the spaces of affordable housing, political spaces, and as well as practicing law on a daily basis. So hopefully with Let's Talk Money, we can really dig deep into um, the things that are important: housing, education, and civic engagement. And I,
And we,
Whitney.
yes, Whitney.
Hi, I'm Whitney Mooney. I am the Development and Marketing Manager at YWCA Cambridge, and I am super involved in my hometown politics, and have been recently involved in the Democratic Town Committee. Just getting involved as I just recently moved back to learn more about how I can help support my town moving forward. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I love that about you ladies. And also, just wanted to say that I wanted to share. I don't know, Linda, I know you're very much involved with Emerge Massachusetts, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to share with our audience how we all met, how we are all sisters.
So Gabrielle and Whitney are my sisters through Emerge. We are the first class that actually went through a pandemic. We're the first class for Emerge that understood what it was like to build and form relationships working with someone in person, and then transitioning to a online format and what that felt like. And, our class is unique because we, have a keen understanding of the difference, right? So whether or not you can reach people and connect with them through a digital format versus being able to be in a room and sharing your thoughts and sharing a space with people. So it's great because, as you can see from just the introductions alone, each of us are very different. Each of us work in different spaces. Um, and I'm proud to call you ladies my sisters.
And Whitney, can you let us know why you decided to get involved with the Emerge Massachusetts and the type of work that you've been doing as a young activist and organizer?
Yeah, so I decided to do Emerge Massachusetts because I really wanted to get more involved in politics, but I just didn't know where to start. And I knew that I had the passion to get involved. I just didn't know where, like, how do you even like go about like making change, but like how do you do it like successfully and not causing harm to the community? And I think Emerge really helped me like really learn how to listen to people, get involved in the community in the right ways, and how to support each other. I think what I love the most about our network is like, even in the middle of a pandemic, we supported each other's campaigns. We were out holding signs. Like, it just goes to show it's such a powerful network of individuals to be a part of, and so a group that supports each other and also helps you stay involved.
Yeah, definitely. I know for me, it was a powerful opportunity to be part of such a great, cohesive, the ladies there, we like very diverse in terms of like background and education and career choices. And I am forever grateful. And I know this is something that when thought about starting this, I had sent an email to the group and our director, I forgot her name,
Nina
uh,
Lee.
Nina Lee, yes. And she was like, keep doing what you're doing, Gabrielle. I want you to reach out to the ladies in our group and ladies in our community because they will be willing and ready to help you. And so when I reached out to you two, and you were like, especially Linda, she was like, yes, I'll be available to help you out, Gabrielle. I've been watching and the same with you. So I'm so grateful for that. So the reason why this is such an important thing to have community, to have support system like Emerge Massachusetts is because, like I said, money encompasses everything. And many times we're trying to hold on to our monies, we're trying to hold on to what we have, but if without the proper guidance, even with a career, you might be struggling in your career, but because you don't have the support system of someone like Linda or Whitney who could guide you and help you and give you ideas, you will never be able to make it. So that's why tonight we wanted to say, why is it important for you to leave your house, come out and be part of your community? So I want to ask, why is it important? How do you get empowered? And why is it important for everyone who's watching here to come out and get involved? Linda.
So, I mean, I think that for me, it's important because one, I'm a mother and I'm raising a daughter who I want to feel it. I want her to feel empowered. I want her to feel like she can walk into a space and that her voice matters and the ability that she has to make a difference in this world can be realized. And the reality though is you can't be what you can't see. So I can't instill in my daughter the idea that you are powerful beyond measure if she's not watching her mother as an example go out there and try to improve the quality of life for myself, but improve the quality of life for the people around me. You know, I was out this weekend doing an event for essential workers, to honor the essential workers in the community that have really, I mean, you know, just let's just be frank about it. Until we are all vaccinated, every time an essential worker goes out, they're risking their life.
Mhm.
And you know, this is a virus that you cannot see, you can't smell it, you can't, you know, you can't avoid it, right? If it's airborne, but yet we rely on people every day to go out and make sure that our lights are on, that our water's running, that if we go to the grocery store, that there's food on the shelves that we can buy. And so it was important for me to go out and honor them, or a small number of them this weekend. But someone said to me in that audience, they said, politics is a blood sport.
Mhm.
And and then I kind of thought about that and I was like, well, why does it have to be a blood sport? And so, you know, when you talk about community and you talk about the power of money, right? Because money isn't just monetary. It's not, the value isn't just the exchange of a currency, right? The fact that you don't have to spend your time to go take a class to learn something because I could call Whitney for that knowledge base, that's money. That's the exchange of something that she took the time to learn, she took the time to gain an understanding of, and then she transferred that skill or that knowledge to me. And that's a valuable thing. But I was like, well, why does it have to be a blood sport? Because when you're in the program that we were in, I don't feel that way. And one of the things Whitney said earlier was, you know, I loved the value of the community within us because we were out there holding signs. We were out there making phone calls. We were out there offering encouragement, right, to the other alums that were with us in our class, our other sisters. And so there's a value in that. So I'm involved in this space because I want to know, how can we change the concept that politics is a blood sport? How can we change the idea that women, they say women don't support women? How do we
Mhm.
change that narrative? And what do we need to do? And you can't be what you can't see. So those types of stereotypes will continue to exist until they see women like us coming forward and saying, that's simply not true. You know, look at what we do, look how we do it, and look how we help and support each other.
Correct. Yeah, definitely. We need to support each other and come out, you know. I know when I first met you, Whitney, I was like, okay, are you running for office? What are you going to do? And at one point you said, you know what, I'm interested in helping somebody else do that. So I obviously you've changed a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about how and when did you decide, you know, maybe I should run for office because I have something to offer? Or maybe I should, you know, come out and be more involved in the community that I grew up in, because I know recently you moved out of Boston to go.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if running for office is in the cards for me this year or next year, but I do know that I want to make change and I want to help people. But I know that there's so many incredible, especially like incredible women and um, individuals out there that have like the passion to run. They just need like that like support system to run. And I've always wanted to be, you know, somebody's support system. Like I'd love to work on a campaign, I'd love to support a campaign. I think that's what was so fun about being a part of the Emerge Sisterhood, especially this last year, was like I got to just like experience so many different campaigns. And you know, like I learned about the Governor's Council in Massachusetts, which I never would have learned about if I didn't get involved on Helena Fontez's campaign. And you know, I think it's just like it's inspiring to get involved and inspiring to be a part of networks of individuals that are passionate about change as well. So I think for me, it's just like I just want to see the right people at the table, and I know that if we work collectively together and stop siloing ourselves and stop competing against each other, that we can really bring some incredible individuals to the table.
Yes, definitely. And like I said, you know, earlier I said that you don't need to be running for office. I know, Linda, you ran for office, and you can talk about that a little bit later, but you don't need to be running for office. You don't even be thinking, you shouldn't even be, you don't have to even be thinking about helping somebody else run for office. We said that civic engagement is something that everybody needs to get involved in, right? Everybody needs to come out and do something and participate. Why? Because there's something in it for you. Yes, you'll have the privilege of of sitting in a classroom or at a community meeting and learn so much from someone who's done so much in terms of like educational. The educational background is very extensive. I've had the privilege of going to events or community meetings where the people who are running the meetings have PhDs, and they're lawyers, they're doctors, different backgrounds, right? And you get to learn for free, right? But at the end of the day, you are empowering yourself so that you can help yourself and your family. Earlier, I posted something on my page saying that I met this woman, Linda and Whitney. I met this woman, and she had said to me, "I don't have the time. I don't have the time to come out because I'm so busy working." Right? Not realizing that all the work that she was doing, she was about to lose everything because she didn't know her rights. So the next question is, why do you think it's so important for those who are watching right now? What would you say to someone who's saying like, I don't have the time, this is not for me, I'm too shy? Why would you, I've said enough, but why would you to say to them, you need to come out and be part of your community, and get involved with a grassroots organization or anything that supporting your community? Why would you say that?
I mean, so for me, we just had an election cycle in some of the towns, cities and not cities, but towns in Massachusetts. One of them that comes to mind is Odessa Sanchez's campaign out in Wellesley. She was a second-time candidate. She ran again for select board. She's always been very open and about her background. And she said, look, I live in Wellesley. I live in public housing. I'm a mother. I have my children, but I'm participating in the community. And there is a demographic of people who live in this community that don't have a voice, right? And she said, and I want to speak to the things that I see, whether it's with respect to housing or infrastructure or the things that Wellesley could improve upon. When you look statistically at the numbers, Wellesley only turned out a 26% voter turnout for their town race, right? So it shows you that what's going on, right? People are disconnected, but if people stay disconnected, those people who need to be heard, those people who need the inclusion, whether it's, different community, you live in a town, but there's communities within that town, whether it's by race, by religion, by, ethnicity, whether it's by socioeconomic status. And if 26% of the residents are voting, to me, that is horrendous. And so if we don't get involved with politics, like what Whitney said, Whitney's like, look, I'm going to go help the community that I care about. I love this community, but I left a community and I have more work that I need to do, and I need to go back there and do it, right? Because she has seen so many things living in Massachusetts. She's seen so many experiences that impact people and the quality of life for people, but also what you said, Gabrielle, if you don't know your rights. And so she's now saying, look, now that I've learned all this stuff, I can take this back with me and I can open new doors. I can break down barriers. I can remove obstacles that are in people's way. And that's really what it's about. But in Odessa Sanchez's case, if 26% of your town show up to vote, and you then lose a race, it doesn't mean you necessarily lose. It means that people are so sick and tired of politics, and they're so sick and tired of not being heard. And people are so sick and tired of feeling like their vote doesn't count and their position or feelings don't matter, that they have disconnected from that process. And so all of us need to be thinking about, if we're truly going to make change, how are we going to get everybody back to the table, whether we like them, whether we agree with them, whether we have a difference of opinion, doesn't matter. I would rather have a result based on 100% of a vote than have a result based on 26%. And so, that's why we need to be engaged. That's why we got to stay involved. That's why, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I know Whitney can probably elaborate more because, she just made like a big move, and that move is around that same thing about empowerment and how do we go into spaces to empower others.
Oh, and you mentioned that how so many a little discouraged by the fact that maybe many times they have not been heard, so therefore they decided, you know what, I don't want to get involved. I know I've been talking to folks in my community, and when I come out, I say you should come out and be involved and do this and do that. Well, it's not gonna work. It's never gonna work. It hasn't worked before. You're wasting your time. What else? What are some of the barriers? What are some of the obstacles that you've seen or heard, Whitney, as to why families and individuals are not coming out to get involved?
I think there's a lot of different barriers. I think there's this like myth, idea that getting involved is so time consuming, but it's really like taking like 10 minutes of your lunch break to just like check your local news and like see what's going on. Is there something like that's being voted on right now that's like outrageous? You use like the next 10 minutes to send a quick email to your senator. Use that email, use that time to tweet out to like your, your local representatives. Maybe leave a voicemail. Like it's so like that's like a quick, easy way for you to get involved. But like now you've had your voice heard. And I think a lot of people don't realize like there's like so much that comes with the power of your voice, of saying, like calling up your representative, like them hearing from you, them knowing that this is a important topic to you, this could affect your family negatively. Those are the stories they have to hear. And I think that's what people get so scared about, is like, oh, I just don't have the time, or I don't feel like my voice is being heard. And it's like you have to try, get your voice out there. Because if you don't try, then your voice really never will be heard. And it could be as simple as a Facebook post. It could be as simple as a tweet, maybe doing a quick Instagram live. It's just getting involved and being engaged in your community. So, when like the next thing might hit you that you weren't ready for, that the government voted on, it now affects you. And I think it's just so, so important to just at least give yourself that 10, 15 minutes a day to be involved.
Correct. And again, a friend of mine used to say, we all have 24 hours, right? You don't have time, I don't have time. But collectively, we have how many hours? Endless hours. So if you come out, you might be able to give 10 minutes, and somebody else is coming out, they're giving half an hour. The other person is giving an hour. Before you know it, as a community, you are putting together hundreds, thousands of hours because you came together. Because again, we said to come out so that you can be empowered, right? Empowering yourself so that you know what's happening, so that you can be able to lend your voice, right? At the end of the day, too, it's for solidarity. There are other people who are thinking the same thing as you. I don't matter. Why should I come out? I don't need to come out, because if I come out, nothing's going to change. But guess what? If the two of you are thinking alike, come out, right? And do something together, guess what? We can make a difference. Because again, I said, get involved so that you can make a difference. That's what we're looking for. Not only a difference in your community, but also in your own lives, right? We know, I know Linda, and I'm not sure about you, Whitney, but I know Linda, we are like faith people. Like we go to church, and many times a lot of the folks in our communities, they're like, you know what, I don't have time. But you see them at church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. I know I'm guilty of that. For many years, I used to spend all my spare time at church, right? Because that's what I was comfortable with, and that's what I grew up doing. Why is it important at this point to let people know, yes, you are a believer, you spend all your time, in the church faith-based environment. Come out. Why is it important for folks to come out? Because I know when I reach out to churches and when I reach out to faith leaders, they say we don't have the time. But yes, they have services different times of the day, the week, and you name it. So why is it important for folks to take some of that time and give it to the community?
So, well, because the members of the church are the community. And when I was, Bishop Thompson used to say, get your affairs in order, clean your house. And cleaning your house doesn't mean, get the broom and mop. What it means is get your affairs in order. Make sure your finances are done right. Make sure your education is where it's supposed to be. Make sure your family has the things they need and where they're supposed to be, right? And so you got to get your affairs in order. But politics, it all starts there because we have to have that in order for our community. It dictates a lot of things. It dictates the flow of money to our children and how they're going to be educated. It dictates how much we're going to be able to demand or command as a livable hourly wage. And it's unfortunate that we have to go tell people Whitney is doing this job and John's doing this job. It's the same job. Why does Whitney have to make less money? Because you decided based on her appearance or her gender that she's deserving of less. I mean, there are things that we have to fight for, that we continue to fight for. And even watching TV and the news, I mean, the fact that people don't know not to put their hands on other people, like this is like to me, these are things that, when you were a kid, your mother would smack your hand. Don't do that. Don't touch other people. Keep your hands to yourself. Yet we're still, as anyone who identifies as a woman, and even if you don't identify as a woman, even if you identify as non-binary, but if you physically look to someone who is a man and they think you're a woman, you still could become part of that Me Too movement, right? And so we are constantly fighting for our rights. Every time we turn around, we're constantly fighting for the right to control our own body, the right for access to health care, the right for a fair, livable wage, and so as we have to make sure that we are politically active, that we are paying attention to the decisions people are making for us, about us, and making sure that when they say this is beneficial to us, that it really is.
Right. And again, going back to the church, I'm a believer, but many of our problems cannot be prayed away. You have to face them. You have to get organized. You have to stand up with your community and fight back. And if you don't, if you're not, like you said earlier, Linda, the church is the community. So if you find yourself hiding in the church every single day and not coming out to participate, going to a community meeting, going to an activity that's happening in your community so that you learn about your rights, you learn about what's going on, you learn about the new laws and legislations that are being worked on so that you can lend a hand, share your ideas. If you're not doing that and you're thinking like praying it away is going to be the solution, it's not. I am a witness of the fact that it's not. You need to come out and participate. Now, we talked about barriers, Whitney, and earlier we said, there could be many reasons why folks are not coming out, right? But we know it's important to come out despite of all the barriers. What are some of the reasons we can enumerate for them? Why is it important? And this might be our last question. Again, the goal of the show tonight was to encourage you to come out and be part of your community. Come out and participate because at the end of the day, you can go ahead and do everything that you need to do and still lose everything that you've worked for because you didn't know your rights, you were not engaged, and your neighbors are going through the same thing, but because A, you're not empowered, and B, you don't have solidarity in your community, you're not able to help one another or each other. So why is it important, again, lastly, to come out regardless of all the obstacles that folks might be dealing with?
Yeah, I think it's just so important to know what's going on in your community so that you can have like so you can one advocate to your friends, advocate to your family, get them involved as well. But it's really just knowing the facts, what's going on. Like, oh, there's a rent moratorium, my landlord can't just kick me out of my house right now. Here's resources for me to get food for my family that I didn't know about. Like all these different things, it's like getting involved like opens you to this like community of like resources, mutual aid groups. Like for example, Cambridge, Massachusetts has incredible mutual aid groups that like, somebody who's hurting for rent can reach out to that group and be like, hey, I really need help right now. Like there's so many different resources out there right now that are available that people just don't know about because they're not getting involved. It's, get involved through like friends at church. If that's your network, that's your network. If your communities, like, for us, it was Emerge. Like that's where I really started to branch out and get involved and learn more about getting, doing more grassroots organizing. I think it's like, start with your community, start talking to people, see how they get involved, and it can, inspire something. Find that thing that riles you up, that keeps you up at night, and fight for it.
Correct. And I know on Sunday when we're speaking, Linda, we said something about shame, many times because you don't know what's out there, what's available to you, you internalize a lot of the shame of anything that's happening to you, circumstances that perhaps are outside of your control, but yet you're not internalizing the shame associated with that. Can you share a little bit about that?
I mean, I think that what happens is we're taught to only share good news and happy news with people. We don't want to show up and be Debbie Downer, and that has been instilled in us since we were little kids. You never, when someone says hi, how are you doing? You don't give them the doom and gloom. You're supposed to give them a happy story. I'm great, I'm fine. But in reality, we not only do that emotionally, like, right? So mentally, emotionally, we do that. Everything's fine, I'm fine. But we do that with our finances, and we do that in other areas of our life. And so what happens is people start to develop this sense that it's not good to share with people that you need help. But, I mean, and you said this, Gabrielle, it's like, spiritually, that's not what the Bible says. It says closed mouth don't get fed. So if you need something, you got to ask. If you need help, you got to tell people you need help. If you need a job, you got to let everybody know you need a job. And there should be no shame in asking for help. And there should be no shame in needing help. I mean, I don't know what Whitney thinks, but
Yeah.
it's just, I think we, for whatever reason, we've been conditioned to not ask. What do you think, Whitney?
Yeah, completely. I think it's so crazy to me. Like, there's so many, I'm a big, the thing that I like to shout about is silos. I just want to bust down all the silos that make it so hard for people to find resources. And like, all different nonprofits are in these different areas, but if we all were like in this, like, big circle together and like, fed off of each other, it's the same thing within communities. I think I think that's what came out of these like Cambridge, like mutual aid groups, Boston mutual aid, every city had a mutual aid at some point. And it's like just community members coming together and saying like, who needs help and how can we help? Where does it hurt? And how can we heal? And I think that's the beauty of community. And that's the beauty of getting involved, is like, you learn about all these resources, and there is absolutely no shame in getting help. My favorite part of telling my story is talking about being on food stamps with my family, because, we found help. We went out and we got help, and it helped us, move to where we are today. We don't have to go to the food bank anymore. And I will shout that to the rooftops. If you need help, reach out. And I always say that I'm a resource hub for that. I always want to help anybody in the community. And I think we're all like-minded in that way.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Whitney. I tell you, if you are here watching and you saying to yourself, what is she talking about? What are they talking about? Oh yeah, I've been wanting to get involved in my community, but I don't know where to start. There are so many different organizations in your community, down the street from you, to the left, to the right, 10 minutes away. All you have to do is call them, go online, Google, call me if you're looking to get engaged, to get involved in a community organization. So many of them right here in Boston. We wanted to have this conversation because, again, we said that it's so important to build community. When you build community, not only you empower yourself, but also you build solidarity. When you have solidarity, when you're going through something, you don't feel like you're all alone. You don't say nobody cares about me. Many of you, especially Boston being such a diverse community where folks are coming from all over the world, right? Many times you don't have immediate family in the area, right? And you all by yourself, you're thinking, I don't have anybody. But you have friends, you have neighbors, you have folks who are available, who are willing to reach out to you. But because you are hiding in your house and you're hiding there, trying to figure it out on your own, subsequently you are hurting yourself, because at the end of the day, without the proper support, we talked about mind, body, and soul, you cannot have the holistic health if you are constantly carrying all your burdens by yourself. How do I know? because I'm one of those people who used to carry all my burdens by myself. I was too ashamed to tell people that I needed help in an area that was killing me, right? But because a friend, a total stranger, met me in Boston and said, "Hey, I can show you where to go," and I was able to go get help for myself. I'm not going to go into too much detail with that. But one thing I can tell you is that help is available. All you have to do is open your door and say, "Yes, I'm looking for support and who can support me. I'm available." And all these ladies here, we are available. Reach out to us. I just want to thank you, Whitney and Linda, for being here. And you guys are doing a great job in your community. I know when I spoke to Linda earlier today, she's like, "Gabrielle, how long is this going to be?" Because she lives in my town and she's going to be part of a town meeting they're having today, right? I need to get involved in that. But I'm so busy with other things. But at the end of the day, whatever you can do, please get involved because that will save you money and also save you a lot of headaches. Sanity, you want to preserve and safeguard your sanity, get be part of a cohesive group that's making changes, that's making a difference in your community and in your town, and that can make a huge change in your life. Thank you so much for tonight, ladies. Again, I appreciate you. Thank you, sisters. And
Thank you for having us.
yes, thank you so much to you for watching, and have a great